Welcome to Doing Small Better with Lane Allen Fields. I'm your host, Lane Allen Fields, and I help leaders of faith-based organizations and faith-based small businesses with revenues of $2 million or less improve their ethics, improve their effectiveness, and ultimately improve their earnings through coaching and consulting. Have you gotten discouraged because your business isn't growing? Your ministry isn't growing. Your social media page isn't growing. Your subscribers aren't growing. So seemingly your impact hasn't increased. Well, if you are, I'm here to help you. If you've gotten to the point where you've gotten frustrated because you're small, I want to tell you that's the wrong attitude to have, because being small isn't bad. Being small actually is an awesome opportunity, and I want to share that with you today. So I'm Lane, and I have 30 years of ordained ministry experience, about 25 or so years of pastoral experience behind the pulpit and leading small churches. And I've also been the owner-operator of a small residential contracting business here in Atlanta that is named after me. And so I'm a state licensed residential contractor. I've built houses, beautified houses, flipped houses. I've helped younger contractors get better at what they do. I've helped younger pastors get better at what they do. And I figure it's time for me to jump online and see if I can help you too. So welcome to my channel. It's called Doing Small Better. And it's kind of the intersection of faith and business and life all put together, where I feel really led. I feel drawn to helping people who are just like me and who are like I was several years ago when I was starting my business and starting my ministry and trying to figure it all out. It can be quite challenging, but fear not, help is here. Help is on the way. All right. So who is it that I'm trying to reach? I'm trying to reach small business owners, leaders of small organizations. Perhaps you're in sales. Perhaps you're an independent contractor. Perhaps you're a freelancer, or like me, a solopreneur, or even an entrepreneur trying to grow and scale a business, but you're kind of at the beginning. You're at the trial and error phase. Or maybe you're just a contrarian, and because I'm a natural contrarian as well. Or you're an innovator of some sort and you're trying to get some traction. So why small? You know, I really had to come to terms with being okay with small. I sought after big ministry, big church. I wanted to grow and scale my business so that it was much bigger than what it is. And I was having trouble. I was just stuck. Couldn't really figure it out why, after more than 2 decades, close to 3 decades, my church really wasn't as big as everybody told me it was going to be one day. My ministry wasn't really as international as people told me that it would be one day. And I had to sit down. I had to really examine my life, examine my character, examine my upbringing, even examine my personality to figure out how all this worked together. And when the dust settled, I realized I'm okay with small. Small is actually in my DNA. I'm from a small family. I have a small family. I went to a small school in a small town. I went to a small university. I played small college sports. I don't even like big crowds. I have a very small circle of friends. I've worked for small businesses. I've run a small business. I was a member of a small church. I pastored and planted and led small churches. And I realized that I'm a rock star in the small space. I'm a rock star in small groups. And I'm okay with that, because it's in the small that I've been able to make a big impact. And I just want to encourage you today. You know, the minor prophet Zechariah in chapter 4 and verse number 10, I'm going to paraphrase, said, "Who has despised the small beginnings? For these seven delight to see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel." And really what God is asking is who told you that being small and having a humble beginning and having a modest a modest start in life, in business, in ministry, who told you that that was a bad thing? Because the Lord actually rejoices in seeing the work begin, the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. The Lord delights in seeing the work begin, even if it starts out small. And I want to share with you three reasons why being small can be okay. First of all, when you're small, this is the time to make your mistakes. This is the time to learn your lessons. When you're small, it's a whole lot better to make your mistakes and fumble and bumble and figure it out in front of 3 people, 30 people, 300 people, as opposed to 3,000, 30,000, 3 million. You make your mistakes while you're small. You learn your lessons while you're small. And people think that success happens overnight for some people, but it really doesn't. Success happens when you're preparing, when nobody's watching, when people haven't seen the work. They haven't seen the blood, the sweat, the tears, the sleepless nights, the uncertainty, the depression, when you're going through the financial struggles, when you've just feel like this is it. I'm giving up. I'm done. This isn't working. This isn't growing. This isn't doing anything substantial. But yet there's a yearning, a tugging. There's something on the inside that just won't let you let it go, even though you've struggled, even though have had a hard time building community and finding people to walk with you, and you feel like you're all alone and you don't know who to talk to tell them just how difficult it is because nobody really knows the struggle. Well, I'm telling you that that is an awesome place to be because it's there. One is where you make your mistakes when nobody is really around to pay attention. You learn your lessons. Two, this is where you're putting in your 10,000 hours. This is where you're building your equity in your endeavor, whether you're in sales, whether you're in entrepreneurship, whether you're in contracting, freelancing, leading a small group or a small department. This is where you're building your equity. This is also where you're building your credibility. But most important, this is where you're building your mastery. So while you're small, while you're putting in the work behind closed doors, while you're doing things that people don't know that you're doing in order to get where you believe God is calling you to go, while you got the plumb line in your hand, while you're putting in the work, this is where you're building your equity. This is where you're establishing your credibility. And this is where you are working toward your mastery, those 10,000 hours of doing it over and over and over again, even when it doesn't seem like it's working. So my encouragement for you today is don't be deceived by what you see online. Don't be deceived by everyone telling you that you're supposed to be big and you're supposed to have millions and you're supposed to have this tremendous amount of abundance and overflow that may not be ordained for you at this particular moment in time because you're small. And so what I want to help you do is I want to help you do small better, which is why I named my channel Doing Small Better. And the other thing is, don't feel inferior because you're small. Don't feel inferior because you're small. Because if you start to feel inferior, you are going to act inferior. And I'm telling you that there is nothing inferior about being small. Small is where you learn to do it right. Small is where you learn to do it well. Small is where you learn to do it with integrity and honesty and authenticity. And one day, if it's the Lord's will for you to be big, then you will be big. But do not feel inferior just because you're small. You can make a big impact in doing small in a great way. Absolutely. And so, don't give up. Get better. Don't throw in the towel. Just learn to do small better. And I'm here to help you. So if this is something that's interesting to you, why don't you subscribe to my channel? Why don't you like the video and even share it with somebody who may be in this place right now? It might not be you. It might be someone you know, someone you love, someone you think has a tremendous amount of potential, but they're struggling. Let them know that this is a place where they can find encouragement, they can find edification, they won't find any judgment, and they'll find someone who will help them do small better.